Now, with every day that goes by, Venezuela seems to be sinking deeper into an economic and political crisis. Until recently, the opposition had been trying to hold a referendum, of course, against President Nicolas Maduro. But since the Chavista leader blocked it, well, they've taken to the streets to protest. The whole country is still reeling from food and medical shortages. And yet the government is still intact. So how has Chavez's revolution stayed alive through all the turmoil? Well, France 24's Laurence Cavillier and Mathieu Comin have this report.
This has become a nightly scene. Venezuelans digging through rubbish bins, desperate for any scraps of food. And by day, queues pile up outside supermarkets with almost empty shelves. And yet, you can still find support for President Maduro.
Yo no quiero mi presidente, yo quiero mi presidente y ahí se va a quedar mi presidente. Eso es mentira.
So how is Maduro's version of Chavismo staying alive in this crisis? This is Saman de Guerre, a 100% Chavista housing project. The country's problems don't seem to be hitting quite as hard here as everywhere else. Here you can still get some of life's little luxuries, like sugar with your coffee. Every month, Lucio's family gets a subsidized 13-kilogram food ration.
And right here, I have more supplies. Here's the coffee. We drink a lot of it. There's cooking oil, tomato sauce.
These handouts are meant to reach all Venezuelans, but only a handful actually get anything.
Well, this here is our national dish. It's something very typical for us Venezuelans. We can still prepare it despite the economic war that is facing our land of revolution.
People around here don't use the word crisis. Lucio, Yazy and their friends say Venezuela's been the victim of an economic war waged by capitalist countries who've hit them where it hurts: oil.
Chavez left us and Maduro inherited a huge responsibility. And that's when they lowered oil prices so that he couldn't count on it. The price of a barrel dropped from $100 to less than half of that.
Yazy and her neighbours have lived here for 2 years. The government built the flats and the residents buy them in instalments over 30 years. But
we haven't started paying yet. Here we have all the utilities that are part of our organization. Water, electricity, telephone. The internet too. You have gas, a phone line. Some people were given computers.
here you all support Chavez? And if someone changed their mind?
We'll convince them. Things don't get better than here.
The government's in deep debt, but won't stop taking care of its last bastions of supporters.
This is like an urban garden project. We're just starting, but they've approved our budget, and we're waiting for the funds.
We want to tell the world that we have a plan. We have a project. Unlike the opposition, whose only plan is to criticize the mistakes of our government. But all governments make mistakes.
Today's Chavismo is promoted by a bustling network of community radio stations. In these Negro Primero studios, they're recording pro-government messages and reassuring listeners that the Bolivarian revolution is going strong.
We're all marching towards a common horizon. Even if lately the right has won some significant, circumstantial victories.
Tapping into local networks is their way of clinging onto the popular bases that supported Hugo Chavez.
Here we make bread to sell to the neighborhood, to meet the community's needs. Then with the money we earn, we pay the technicians, the electricity bills, and the equipment.
But all of this isn't enough to cover up the government's plummeting popularity.
¿Cómo está la esquina caliente? A ver, ¿cómo está ese ánimo? ¡Chávez vive!
La Esquina Caliente, literally the hot street corner, was a hub for revolutionaries under Chavez. But today, leaders are struggling to get people's attention and to get younger Venezuelans on board.
We've got to stay alert. For Commander Chavez, we have to stay alert. We cannot lose this revolution. If we lose it, we'll lose all our social benefits.
Venezuela had always been one of the more prosperous countries in the region. But with inflation nearing 700% this year and bubbling social unrest, it's getting hard to find any signs that Maduro's version of the revolution is working.